Hello, one and all, and thank you for sticking with us. We've had a little bit of a break, as you might have noticed, but we're back now. We were going to do a long section of the news because I've been to Photokina and Photoplus in the interim, but to be honest, what happened was that people brought out new cameras, and we did say we weren't going to talk about that at the beginning. So with that in mind, and given that Tanya's been doing something much more interesting, we're going to talk about that instead. So, welcome to the Photographer Podcast with me, Adam Juniper, and Tanya Nagar.
Hello.
See, audio format. So, yeah, long time no see. Where have you been?
It has been a while. So I've spent a couple of weeks in India, travelling, a lot of travelling. I actually covered 4,000 kilometres across a couple of weeks, so pretty hectic road trip as well.
That's 2,500 miles in old money. Sorry.
Very interesting, very insightful. It's my 15th trip to India. So from that perspective, I was thinking, what more is there to be surprised by? But every time I go there, there's always something. So, yeah, very good trip.
Any reason, particularly you went there this time?
What, in terms of why it's surprising or?
No, why did you go, I guess?
Right, yeah. So, I love India. Tend to go there at least once a year, or at least I try to. I just find that when I was getting into photography, India was a source of inspiration for a lot of my photography. So I kind of gravitate towards that. It's kind of going back to what I love in terms of the colours there and the sort of sights and sounds and the chaos of India. There's something quite, I guess, intriguing about it all. It's very different to obviously being in London. So for me, it's a form of escapism.
It's not all grey.
It definitely is not all grey. Waking up to guaranteed sunshine is always a good thing. So that's really the reason why I wanted to go. Also, I kind of mixed it with a bit of charity work as well, a bit of a personal trip as well to sort of give back in some way. So it was a mixed trip, but photography obviously common theme, as it always is when I go away.
And find some time to fit some charity in as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Making you a better person.
Yeah, and actually I didn't take many pictures of that. That was very much a kind of separate part of the trip.
I thought everyone just went to do charity so they could fill their YouTube channels with it.
Yeah, well,
or Instagram.
No, it was for me that was just I wouldn't say a thing on the side because it was very much part of the trip. But I found that it was very separate to the photography as well. I think it's difficult to sort of fully immerse yourself in kind of helping the local community if you're taking pictures of everything. So
I'm going to ask what you were doing to help, but first I'm going to say I've never actually been to India.
Right.
But those friends of mine who have, they're always very excited before they go, and then the only stories they come back with are digestive. So was that a problem for you at all?
So we're talking about Delhi belly, essentially. Yeah, I got very sick. I've actually been pretty lucky on my trip, so I tend not to get sick, but I did get very ill towards the end of this trip, and quite frankly was almost happy to be back. I shouldn't admit to this, but airport, Delhi, the only thing I wanted was KFC, and I had KFC, and I loved every second of it. It was very nice to have something that wasn't curry. And the thing is, when you're travelling on the road and covering the places that I was covering, there isn't an option to eat anything else. Big cities are fine, you'll find a range of food, but if you're in a little village, asking for anything other than curry is just not going to happen, really. I enjoyed that KFC.
Okay, well, it's a good excuse, I think.
Yeah.
If you want an even more graphic description of what can go wrong in India, then go back through the back issues of Beware of the Leopard podcast, which is also hosted on Podium. Shout out to Danny Smith.
I'll have to check out that one.
It's a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy fans thing, but Danny seems to get every story of that sort of his travelling experiences in there. So
it's all part of the travel experience, isn't it? It's all part of it. So
I hear.
Yeah. So for about 3 days I did no photography. The last thing I wanted to do was pick up my camera when I was just throwing up non-stop. It wasn't very good. But anyway, this is not about that.
I thought you said there'd be plenty of colour.
Oh.
Sorry. No, all right. So, so on this, the charity work.
That was just a personal thing. I tend to do charity work in general in India. You know, obviously it's a country that has a massive divide in terms of rich and poor, and I find it's strange. But I think, you know, when you're over there taking pictures and capturing lives that sometimes aren't very nice lives. Obviously, the poverty there is extreme. It was just a personal thing that I wanted to give back in some way. Whatever I could do, whatever was possible. I just felt like.
So was it a local charity that you know of?
No, well, actually, what I did was, and I travelled with my mum.
Okay.
And she was very big on this as well. And we decided that rather than do the big charities, which always get volunteers and they don't have any issue with finding people to help out, we purposely wanted to go for the charities that aren't publicised, that maybe don't have a website or don't have publicity. So we actively sought that out when we landed.
Okay,
so it was essentially word of mouth, asking around, and
that's really cool. So going and saying, what can I do, rather than something that involves approaching all of your colleagues.
Completely. And I've got
contacts. Just giving.
Oh, you know what? It's just such a different way of doing things. And I've got friends in India that I also consulted and said, can you just do a bit of research for me before I get there to figure out which charities need help, which charities perhaps are a bit more obscure, or I don't know, just don't have as many eyes kind of, or people donating and all that kind of thing. So yeah, it was really satisfying because these places actually genuinely need help. So yeah, it was very good, very good.
Cool. I hope we're all suitably humbled.
No, you know what? It was a great experience. I'd recommend anyone sort of do that, and happy for people to reach out if you want to find out more. Happy to share my experience.
And if you don't want to travel all the way to India, then I think while you're away, the UN did a report to say that the UK has horrific poverty as well. So
there's poverty everywhere, so you can always help in some way, for sure.
Okay, so I think one of the things we're always very proud of on this podcast is using a essentially audio medium to look at photographs. So we're going to start on that favourite segment now. This is where we get to share our descriptive skills. Or, of course, you can follow the links underneath. We're now looking at a dog. Oh,
yeah, a very sweet-looking thing.
Carefully framed between a bench with writing on. I don't recognise the language.
So that would be Hindi, which I don't read, by the way, but I recognise it. So this, street dogs are everywhere in India. I think it's impossible to go to any place in India without animals. Monkeys, dogs, cats, they're everywhere, you can't avoid them. It's fascinating the way humans and animals coexist in society there. It's not always good. Monkeys especially are extremely dangerous.
I was going to ask about the monkeys.
Yeah, I had some...
Because there were monkeys on your Instagram, I think.
Yeah, they're all over the place, and they're wild, let's just put it that way. But anyway, that's a different story. So this particular dog, this is in a place called Varanasi, which is an ancient town in India, known for Hinduism, known for being a very holy place. And I spent 3 days in this place. Amazing, very peaceful. It's on the banks of the river Ganges. And 3 days of just walking around, soaking it all in. And there was a group of puppies sat under a bench. It's almost like that was their home. And someone had laid out this kind of cloth on the floor, like a blanket. And there was just a group of them all sat there. So I've got a series of these images of just these puppies, really. There's one where they're just all sleeping. There's one that's one's just kind of looking at me underneath the bench, and then there's this one where I kind of stood over the bench just to look down, try and get a different angle, and this one particular puppy was just looking up at me for ages. I don't know whether its expression is sad or confused or...
It certainly does, it looks a little sad to me,
Yeah.
maybe a little hint of optimism. But he's got catch lights, hasn't he? Is that just the sort of light from around? Or you're not using a flash? Or?
No, not at all. So this was taken... So I was using film predominantly. I had no idea how this would come out, but the light really worked. In fact, the light in India I find is very different. Obviously, it's very sunny. You've got that kind of golden light that you get when the sun's, kind of setting as well, which in the UK is very rare to get, mainly because we don't have a lot of sun here. This, I think the eyes are really kind of glowing. This was using my Leica as well with Fuji film, which is a great film. But no, the light, it just really, it's almost like a spotlight.
Yeah, it's tack sharp, isn't it?
But no, I love the eyes in it, and again, it's a real emotion, and I can't quite work out what that emotion is, but there's real emotion there. I feel.
I'm going to be cynical and say he's hoping for a snap.
Hoping for a snap, probably.
He's just had an energy drink.
I think that's just rubbish.
Oh, it's garbage.
That's just rubbish. But yeah, so I snapped these dogs. Absolutely loved them. Wanted to take them home with me. Fortunately, couldn't do that. But yeah, I just found there was a lot of emotion there, and I wanted to capture that. And hopefully that comes across here. And it's almost like a separation. The bench is like a barrier between us.
I think that's what makes it interesting, and I like that you've managed to put him he's actually dead centre, but you wouldn't know it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Good observation there. Even I didn't really realise that
because he has his own frame.
Yeah. So this was an interesting scenario. So we're looking at 3 girls. That again, this is in Varanasi, and it's weird. It's a small area, so you've got these. You'll often bump into the same people.
So it's like regularly. Shops or a market. It's a sort of busy middle.
Yeah, it's kind of just a busy street off from the sort of main banks of the river, where you've got shops and you've got food places, little stalls, things like that. So these girls were across the course of the 3 days. I wouldn't say they were following me. It's a bit... Well, I mean, they were fascinated by me with my camera. And I snapped one of the girls, the one in the middle. I snapped her the day before, I think. And she came running up to me and said, "I remember you. You took a picture of me." She was talking in Hindi. I understand Hindi fluently. I can't speak it fluently. So there's always this language barrier where I can't quite communicate back in the same way.
Yeah, sorry. So she's already met you.
Yes.
And they're not stalking you, but they've seen you before.
Yeah, so they'd obviously seen me walking around my camera. The one in the middle particularly, very sweet girl. She recognised me I took a picture of her the day before. She came up to me and said, "You took a picture of me," and it was very kind of cute the way she approached me, and sort of just wanted to point that out, that I captured her the day before. And I obviously recognised her, and she was talking in Hindi. I can't communicate effectively in Hindi. I mean, I can just about communicate, but certainly not fluently. And they asked me, the 3 of them, to take a picture of them. So it was all very natural. I just captured the one frame, which you see here. And the funny thing about this is it's just those little moments that you get that you can't quite, the moments that come with a story like this. So she ran up to me, or they all ran up to me once I'd taken the picture, and they all kind of looked at the back of my camera. But of course, a Leica M6 does not have an LCD, so they couldn't see the picture.
And that is what they were expecting to.
That's exactly what they're expecting. It's a sign of the times, right? No one expects you to be walking around with a film camera. And they were kind of confused, disappointed, and
I'm sorry, are you from 1991?
Well, this is it. They sort of looked at me like, what is this? And I tried to explain in Hindi, which didn't go down very well, how this is a film camera, an old film camera. There is no screen. I'm using film, and it just went down like a lead balloon. They just looked at me as though I was insane. Obviously, I couldn't explain it very well. It was a sweet moment.
Yeah, and what age after which you don't see...
Well, you know what? People in their 20s have never seen maybe that was just an anomaly, but people in the 20s
Probably haven't seen
have not seen VHS cassettes. So I don't expect, I mean, these girls, that girl actually in the middle was 11. I don't expect an 11-year-old to have ever seen a roll of film.
No, you're right.
So trying to explain that in broken Hindi, that, you know, this is a film camera with film loaded in it, and it's an old camera, it doesn't have a screen, so I can't show you a picture. It's quite difficult to articulate.
It's very high tech and futuristic. It's all going to be about chemicals. I'm you know, leading.
So it's a lovely moment, which kind of it was a bit of an anticlimax when they couldn't see themselves, but lovely moment. Okay,
and again, you can find that in the links down below, or on your, are you going to have them on your feed?
At some point, I will get round to uploading some of these. You might be able to find them on my Instagram stories, the archives, somewhere if you dig deep enough. But no, these will go online very soon.
Okay, so this I do want to explain. On the left of the frame is what appears to me to be a classical trident, such as Neptune, King of the Sea, might be carrying. On the right is a rather relaxed looking man with several paint marks on his arms.
Honestly, this was more of a snapshot than anything else. Just looks like a character. So again, it's Varanasi. Being a holy ancient town, there are lots of religious Hindus that kind of gravitate towards Varanasi, that live there. It's part of their lifestyle. This particular man, I would assume, is a religious. I can't actually explain what that, whatever you want to call it, trident thing is, or why it's even there. I didn't talk to him. I just thought he looks pretty cool. He looks interesting, and I just decided
How did he react? I mean, he looks pretty laid back.
Yeah, he didn't actually. I normally ask. I kind of gauge situation in the moment, and I normally decide there and then if it's appropriate to just shoot, or if it's appropriate to ask for permission. In this case, I didn't ask for permission. He just sat there, and he looked so calm, and he looks a bit angry, to be honest. Maybe he wasn't.
Now he does.
Yeah, maybe he wasn't too happy about that. Now that I've zoomed in, but he didn't protest. He didn't say anything. He just sat there and was very still.
Maybe he's meditating on angry thoughts rather than
maybe.
Not targeting you.
Maybe.
I mean, I always think that orange is amazing anyway when you see it with, you know, certain monks or
yeah, a lot of characters, and for me, it was just, I just wanted to take a picture of him. It was as simple as that. You know, there's no real story behind it. It's more just the characters that you see. I love the beads around his neck. I love the marks on his arms. Some of these guys that are dressed like this, they ask for money as well. It's a way for them to earn. Apparently they aren't the really religious ones then, because they wouldn't be asking for money.
It doesn't feel like a...
It wouldn't be part of the whole sort of ethos of their lifestyle to be asking for money. This guy, I don't think I gave him any money. I mean, he didn't protest, he didn't say anything. So it was just literally a snapshot. And
you didn't hear that, folks. She definitely gave him some money and signed a model release.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so that's it really. Just character, and just wanted to, in the moment, take a portrait, very candid portrait.
What is off the shot to the left? I mean, you have to tell me from your memory. It's
all of this.
Like where is he?
So he's on some steps. This is on the banks of the Ganges, so it's not looking towards the river, looking away from the river. And he's just sat there on the steps. There's a lot of activities.
So is he sort of staring into the water?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's in a very contemplative spot, and he's got his legs crossed. Yeah, he's all right. He's probably not hating you. He's probably just...
I hope not. I hope he didn't put an evil curse on me or something. But yeah, I mean, I have no idea what his story is. And, you know,
Have you felt cursed recently?
Well, I got ill very soon after, so maybe that's what it was.
Now we know.
Yeah. No, yeah. Again, the sun is setting at this point, so the light,
golden light.
That again is that common theme.
Orange walls, very orange pants. So.
Yeah.
does look a bit like a napkin.
It does, doesn't it? It does. Yeah, and again, the face, the stuff on the face and the arms, it's just all, it's very symbolic, and it felt.
Yeah, he's got. I mean, yeah, I can see why if you saw him, you must have been quite close. So one of the things I'm starting to realise, because I put my 50mm on the other day and wandered around, is that pictures that I would normally take, and most of the time I have a 70 to 200mm lens on the camera. Pictures that I would normally take, I can't, because the thing that if you carry a fairly long lens on most of the time, you end up framing things that are further away with your eyes.
Yeah.
And if you're, I don't get there quick enough. I'm not going to run to the right moment. So whereas you must feel quite confident that he's not going to get up and savage you with his trident.
Yeah, I mean, so all these images were taken. I only used a 50mm lens, which is my favourite lens, and in order to get a portrait like this, which is, fairly. I mean, he's not. I wasn't close to him, but close enough. Certainly, a few feet away from him. So you do have to be quite confident, and I think you just have to embrace the moment with a lens like the 50mm. It is designed to be kind of an action lens in a way. Like, you have to be in the action and quite, on the front line with the camera for sure. So you can't really hesitate with it. You can't really, obviously you can't zoom in. It's a prime lens. You can't zoom in either. So you do have to be quite bold and just embrace it and just get the shot, or just don't do it.
Do you have like a top 5 tips for shooting in street photography?
Yeah, I've probably got a top 20 list. You mean sort of tips and.
So let's say you're there, you've got a prime, or you've got a, or even a mobile phone where you just can't go, you can't really zoom into anything. So you're there and, you are going to be part of the environment, if not actually part of the scene. So what do you do? How do you compose yourself?
I think smiling is really important in general. If you're looking to shoot people in the street that are essentially strangers, they've never seen you before. Well, for starters, a prime lens like the 50 lens is relatively small, so hopefully you won't look intimidating with it, whereas the lens you've just referenced, the 70-200, it's a big lens. It's a heavy lens. It's not particularly travel friendly, in my opinion. If you're out and about,
it definitely isn't.
Yeah. So I mean, great lens, but it's not really designed.
But it looks very manly and grown up.
Well, there you go. So if you like your gear, it's definitely one to carry around with you. It's very heavy as well. The prime lens like that is designed to allow you to really have the freedom to move and the freedom to really get into the action. So. Tips for something like this would be smile for starters. You don't want to, quite frankly, piss someone off by going up to them and just taking a picture of them and then just walking off and, not giving some kind of personal, I guess, connection, not connected with that person. So for me, I remember smiling at him, and I think that breaks down barriers, particularly if you don't speak the language or you don't have time to actually ask, can I take your pictures? So smile really helps.
And he won't stab you with his trident.
Yeah, be nice, exactly, especially when he's got a weapon like that next to him. So smile, eye contact, obviously. So that for sure. Be confident. If you're looking to shoot scenes and get really engaging, compelling pictures, you have to be bold. You just have to be. You have to put yourself in a situation where you might have to come out of your comfort zone. But do it, do it.
And I guess from coming out of your comfort zone, you engage, more with the environment you're in, wherever you are.
Completely. Yeah. And it won't always work, and you might get some wasted frames there. With digital, that's not really an issue. With film, such as this, you might have a few wasted rolls of film, but embrace it. Just go with it and get up close to the action. You really capture things that you may not realise you can even capture, particularly with portraits.
I mean, that's something everyone says, isn't it? Especially given most people are probably shooting digital, there's no cost, is there? There's no loss.
No.
And then you can trade up.
So film forces you
to
think a lot.
To film.
Yeah, no, completely. But in actual fact, I think the two work really well side by side, because with film you're forced to really think about what you're going to shoot. Digital, you can just afford to snap here and there, and often the quality drops, I find. With film, you might have a few wasted frames, a bit of a waste of money, but you can really, it forces you to think in a different way, and really put effort into what you're shooting. So you approach it in a different way, I find. So I would say...
Do you like psychologically put your hand in your pocket and feel like 30 pence coins or something before you press the button?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm thinking each frame's going to cost me £1, so I better make this a
Yeah,
good one.
sorry, inflation.
Yeah, exactly. It's expensive when you factor in the processing and the cost of the film and all the rest of it. So, I mean, if I just take this picture, and I'll describe this one as well. So this is a lady on the steps, again, on the steps of the banks of the river. She's just sat there. Again, the colours really jumped out at me. So I was just walking down the river.
For our audio, so she's wearing, again, a very strong orange. The steps go off to the distance in, what's the word I'm looking for? They're going straight off towards the middle of the frame, and then off to the left there's hints of river, but cow.
Yeah,
definitely some cows.
A lot of cows. There's a lot of stuff going on in Varanasi. I mean, it's a fascinating place. You've got parts of the river where you've got cremations going on as well. So you've got dead bodies actually being brought through, just passing you as though it's the most natural thing in the world. It is in Varanasi. It's obviously not in the Western world by definition. So anyway, so this woman, she sat there. I was just intrigued by her sari. Bright colours, bright lipstick, bright jewellery.
Oh. Yeah, I hadn't seen the lipstick straight away.
Yeah, and she's got the red...
she's giving you a look there.
Yeah, she is. I don't know if she's a bit pissed off as well. You've got the cows in the distance. It was just a scene that, for me, I wanted to capture. I just felt like I thought she looked great. You know, she's got the nose stud as well, so the jewellery...
Kind of like the fact that sort of Indian Reservoir Dogs are walking up behind her.
Yeah. You've got these 4 guys that are walking up behind her. I didn't intentionally cut their heads off, but I kind of like how it's worked. You've just got the sort of...
Yeah, we know they're there. They're sort of, they provide a presence without you having to see them.
So it's kind of sinister in a way, isn't it, now that I'm looking at it? Bit freaky. But this, again, this frame, I wanted to capture eye contact. And the only way I could do that was by making myself known to her, as opposed to being far away, just hoping that she might look at me. So I had to get close to her. She turned, she looked at me. She actually stayed like that for a while. So she didn't look away. She didn't, again, protest. And that, to me, and I smiled at her, and the fact that she continued looking at me, for me, was a sign that she was fine with me capturing her. And that's what I did. I just
take it as a cue, can't you? You take her as a... And she's given you a pose then. In that case, if she's held it, it is effectively it's an interesting expression.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I just crouched down and shot this again, just one frame. And for me, it just worked really well. I like the background, the kind of noise in the background, but it's, there's enough sort of blur there that it's not distracting, hopefully.
Yeah, the cows are sort of the other side of that, the geometry of the steps, which is nice. There's a word I know, but I can't say what it is. So.
It'll come to you.
I
don't know what that stuff is there. It's noisy background, but again, I like that. It's capturing the true essence for me of this place, and I just loved how.
Is it true then about the bodies?
The dead bodies, yeah. I've got a lot of pictures. It's strange. It's honestly strange. How do I describe it? So, it's very normal in this part of the world, but for me, and for obviously people that are unaccustomed to this. It's surreal. So people believe that it's a Hindu tradition that, or I was going to say myth, who knows, right? Can't say. But if you're cremated in Varanasi, you will have a more, I don't know, the afterlife. Or actually, I don't want to say anything that's not what people believe. But apparently,
it'll be better in some way.
It'll be better to be cremated there. So people travel from all over the country to Varanasi just to cremate the dead, because it's thought that is the best place to be cremated. So there is a part of the banks of the river where cremations are going on 24 hours a day. People are carrying dead bodies through the alleys of Varanasi to get to the
people
bags.
drink from?
The river that people drink from, did you
Yeah,
say?
yeah, just out of interest. Lovely.
Yeah. I mean, this is the life, the kind of what goes on the river, and they are just burning people, and it's a shocking sight if you've never seen it before. There's no rule that you can't take pictures of it. I find it. I mean, I would find it uncomfortable to take pictures.
But
where
you didn't.
I did,
You
but
did?
not where you could see the face of the dead
Okay.
person, or not where you could see the relatives of the person either. I was actually conscious about that because I just think I wouldn't want to be, if that was me, I wouldn't want someone taking pictures of me mourning.
Yeah.
So for me, it was important not to capture faces, but I did capture dead bodies, bodies that were being half burnt. They're halfway through the process of being cremated. I saw a lot, bodies being carried through, and it's very emotional and very kind of overwhelming to see that.
Yeah.
Because on the one hand, you've got children playing, you've got dogs running around, you've got cows, you've got monkeys, you've got people chilling, drinking tea, having snacks, and then you've got people being burnt.
You get used to everything if you live there.
I tell you what, it's unreal.
Good practice for a zombie apocalypse, or.
It's insane. I can't even describe it fully, but it's shocking on the one hand, but you very quickly, over 3 days, I was sort of getting used to it. I was kind of getting used to that whole.
Going back to the thing you were saying, 4,000 miles of travel.
So. Kilometres, 4,000 kilometres.
Sorry.
4,000 miles up.
2,500 miles. A lot of miles.
A lot.
Some of these bodies have travelled that sort of distance? Or?
Potentially. So in India, because of the heat, you're cremated either the same day as you die or the following day. But dead bodies aren't kept, No. Yeah, you can imagine.
Yeah.
So
generally, no one likes having them around. Well, with some certain religious groups.
So it's unlikely that, unless they've travelled in a car or whatever. I mean, most of these people are walking to Varanasi, so it's pretty big thing. They could be walking for an entire day to get here. And it was interesting. I spoke to there's so many stories I could share. The people that cremate are considered, and this is where we get into complexities of the caste system in India and the sort of different hierarchies, I guess. And it's, I hate to say it, but what's considered the lowest caste, almost the untouchables, as it was described to me, who actually burn the bodies themselves. That's the job that they have.
Right.
And I spoke to someone that knows one of the families there, and it's just a family. It's passed down through the family. So you're born into a family that essentially that when you grow up, or even as a kid, you're going to be working there and helping people cremate the bodies. Yeah. And you're known as untouchable because of the job that you have. So it's all very fascinating and interesting, is one way of putting it.
Yeah. So that completes part 1 of the Indian adventure, and in a couple of weeks we'll be able to download the second part when we'll carry on right from this point. In the meantime...
So, I'll be uploading some of these on my Instagram page, which is Tanya Nagar Photography. There'll also be snippets and stories on Twitter. That's Tanya_N on Twitter. And then also Flickr at some point, when I actually have time to do a mass upload on there. So yeah, check it out. I've got some stories up on Instagram as well that cover some of these pictures. So have a look, and always love to hear from you guys. So feedback, welcome.
Nice feedback.
Yeah.
Or,
don't want to hear from
constructive. Weirdos, there's a whole rest of the internet.
Yeah, and also, discussions. I think, India's such a fascinating place. I've started using stories more on Instagram and found that people really are interested in learning about, just engaging around all kinds of subjects. It's a fascinating place. So, reach out to me, ask me questions, and let's share stories. I'm always happy to talk about this stuff, as you can tell.
So which is why we've broken this up into 2 parts. And for now, goodbye. Thank you very much for listening. It's been great fun as ever. We have nothing left to do except wish you a very happy Christmas, holidays, and especially for the people in Birmingham, Winterval. Goodbye and see you in the new year. I've been asking a lot of questions, but the one thing I forgot to do is promote my own book, which came out recently, not about photography, but about smart home technology, called the Smart Home Handbook. I would strongly urge you to go and buy that before you buy lots of expensive gear for your house. I've been Adam Juniper.
And I've been Tanya Nagar.
And in fact, we're going to carry on being Adam and Tanya. But, we're going to do it without you listening. So, have a good break. Bye.